I'll admit, out of all the tie-ins I thought Bad Batch was gonna do, I did not expect the Rancor from Return of the Jedi to be one of them. Yeah, so how's everyone doing today, guys? My name's T Codes, and this is the Bad Batch episode 5, Rampage. This was an interesting episode. I mean, it connects to the last one being the Bad Batch. After Fennec attacked them and tried to kidnap Omega, they obviously would want to figure out who she is, who she's working for. So in this episode, they do that. They go and find this informant named Sid. Sorry. This informant named Sid, who... She's pretty interesting, but one thing I kind of did find rather interesting about the Bad Batch in this episode, or at least for Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Wrecker, is the fact that they're kind of out of their element in this one. Because, Tech kind of spills it, yes, pretty much spells it out for us in the middle of the episode, saying, like, well, you know, we're soldiers. We do more military-based tactics. We have military-based missions. We have never had to rescue slaves from as hunters and all that. So it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. So, although I kind of felt like they were a little bit dumber in this one, because they go into this bar. And this one person, and so Echo asks this one person who is the informant they're looking for, where's this informant? And then he gives her the name, and she's like, never, haven't heard of him. And so they're like, well, we're out of options. And I'm like, it's clearly freaking her. And I love how Omega just goes over to her, and she's like, yo, Sid. And then Sid's response is, you're brighter than they are. And she even assumes that, or even makes a joke, I should say, that Omega's the brains of the group. Which I find hilarious, because technically speaking, Tech is the brain, and you can argue Echo could be as well. But after that little joke, I guess, she tells them that if they want the information they're looking for on Fennec, they have to do a job for her, and this job is they have to free this kid named Mochi. Yeah, Mochi, I think is the name. Or maybe, is it the... Mochi. Yeah, Mochi. They have to free this kid named Mochi from slaveholders, and it's not just any slaveholders. It's the Zygerians, I think, are the name. The Zygerians from the Clone Wars series. It's not the same ones that were in that storyline in Clone Wars, but it is the same species. So even when the Empire takes over, they're still doing their tactics. And so the Bad Batch, they fly out to where they're posted. They find that they're holding this family hostage, and so they assume that the kid that's with them is their target. And it doesn't go well. So Hunter, Wrecker, Echo and Tech, they go in and they're like, okay, we got this. And they tell Omega to just wait back at the ship. A part of me was wondering, you couldn't have her do some, recon from above, because in this episode, they give her own comm link. Like, she has a comm link on her arm now, and they even, they even tell her, remember, don't wander off, don't talk to strangers, always stick with us, and in case you do get separated, it's use the link. So, I was like, you can just have her off in the distance with the binoculars and just be calling stuff out. That would work, But they don't. They have her stay at the ship. And then the Bad Batch gets captured by these, the Zygerians. But what's interesting as well is the fact that there is this creature with them. It's like, they think they said it's kind of like a dragon-ish kind of creature. So they get caught and tied up or chained up. Wrecker, on the other hand, he is able to break out of it, but unfortunately they have to wait until he's no longer being shocked by the thing. And yeah, But Omega, I'm really glad Omega finally really proved herself, or at least took a step further in showing what she's capable of in this episode. I mentioned that when they were on in episode 3 Replacements, when she was able to get the device needed to fix the ship without having to actually fight. In this episode, she has to infiltrate this outpost and free the crew from these slaveholders, and for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. She just sneaks in, and I really like the way she actually breaks them out. So, and actually, funny enough is, okay, so when she infiltrates the outpost, there's this big cage, and they say, and it's a baby Rancor. It's a baby Rancor, and so she gets the idea of like, okay, well, if I let this thing out, this thing will keep them occupied, so I can help free my friends and the family. So that's exactly what she does. Although I love the way that they have the whole thing unfold. So she goes to the cage, and it looks like she's unlocking it. All of a sudden, a few guards notice her, and they grab her, and they're like, "What do you think you're doing?" And she's like, unlocking the cage. Like, she whips out the lock, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah, that's cool. Rancor busts out and starts beating up the guards. And with the guards occupied, Wrecker breaks out of his chains, rips the collar off him, yanks the chain off everyone else. Everyone's free. They go to the kid, they go to the kid in the family and say, "We got you, Mochi." And the father's like, "That's not Mochi, that's Mochi." And so the twist is the baby Rancor is Mochi, and I love it. I love that twist. And as we find out, there is a connection with this Rancor, and as I mentioned earlier, it's the same Rancor from Return of the Jedi, and a part of me found that pretty clever that they tied that in, but another part of me was like, okay, now that if I go back to watch Return of the Jedi, I'm gonna watch that scene and be like, dang. Although another part of me is gonna be watching that scene and it's like, hey Mochi, how you doing, Mochi? You good, Mochi? Just because it's like, you think of this big, scary looking thing that can eat anything that drops into the pit is named Mochi. I don't know why. It's just anytime you have a big scary monster kind of thing have a ridiculous name is so. But it's funny. It's funny because so Mochi then beats up the guards, and Hunter is able to take out the leader of the these slave holders. All the while, Tech and Wrecker and Echo, I think, yeah. No. So Tech and Wrecker have to go get Mochi. Omega and Echo help the family escape, and Omega even gets her own weapon. I was waiting for her to get her own weapon because I remember in the trailer she had the crossbow thing, or the bow and arrow thing. And so this is the episode she picks it up, and she doesn't use it though. She just she picks it up, inspects it, likes how it thinks it's really cool, and then just holds on to it. So part of me was hoping there would be a moment in the episode where she would have to actually fire at something and it would save the family or Echo, but we gotta wait for another episode. Hunter is able to deal with this is kind of a gruesome scene. So there's is it the same dude? Okay, I gotta remember, because there's a moment where there is one of the slaveholders on top of a tower, and the Rancor rams it, and so the guy falls off, and you don't see him hit the ground, but you see like him fall, and it's like you got rocks here, you see him fall past the rocks, and then you just hear a and I'm like, Disney. And part of me is like, okay, yeah, I mean, anyone who saw True Colors of Amphibia last week, it's like, you technically saw worse here because, you fall from a high place. But easily the funniest thing is Wrecker fighting the Rancor, because Tech says the only way to take control of the Rancor is to, like, beat it in a fight. You have to, like, be the alpha. So Wrecker and the Rancor fight, and a part of me was wondering if Wrecker was gonna have to outsmart it, or something was gonna happen with his inhibitor chip that would, like, cause him to get, like, go into, like, beast mode or something. But no, they kill for a more comedic aspect of it, and the comedic aspect of it is the fight goes on for so long that it gets to the point where it's like, like they're both gassed at the end of it. Like the Rancor just passes out and Wrecker just falls on top of it. It's like, yeah. But it's funny. I thought it was a funny little bit in that moment, because, you know, when you do see two bulking behemoths duke it out with each other, and they're pretty much on the same level playing field, because one of them's a clone that's super, that, you know, just has super strength, and the other's a baby Rancor. It was pretty funny. And after that, they take the Rancor back, and Jabba's, I forget the dude's name. Jabba's, like, you know, right-hand man, you know, the pale-looking dude with the thing around his neck, you know. He comes in and he picks it up. He's like, Mochi! And part of me is just like, that thing is gonna grow up and get killed by Skywalker. Again, it's like, it's a funny tie-in, but at the same time, it's kind of sad when you think about it, because you know the fate of that thing. But, yeah. So, Hunter has a talk with the Sid, and Sid gives him the spiel on who Fennec is, but the only thing is, she doesn't know who hired her. All that she knows is she's a bounty hunter, and if they're targets, they're probably valuable targets. And so, of course, Hunter is like, well, how do we deal with her? And she's like, and Sid's like, there's two ways to do it. One, you gotta have a lot of power, and two, you gotta have a lot of money. Or, you know, a lot of people, you gotta have a lot of connections, and you gotta have a lot of money. And obviously, they don't have either at the moment. So, seems like we're gonna have them becoming bounty hunters, which is kind of ironic when you think about it, because they're the same, because their blood, their genes are from a bounty hunter, and so now they are becoming bounty hunters. But for now, we don't really get much after that. In fact, we leave on Sid saying, like, you must be pretty valuable if you're being hunted by a bounty hunter of with this much skill, because she, like, mentions how Fennec hasn't been in the game for long, but she's already proven to be very, very dangerous. Like, I mean, as we saw in episode 4 of this series, she can do a lot, and even in Mandalorian, she is a deadly sniper, so who knows where we'll go with this. Yeah, so, yeah, that about covers everything for this episode. So, overall, I liked it. I liked how we had some tie-ins from Clone Wars. I liked how we have some tie-ins to the original trilogy. I also like the more comedic aspect to it, and I also, of course, loved how Omega actually had more to do, and it actually benefited. Like, she was able to help the team in this episode, and because she rescued them. If she got caught, or if she wasn't there, they probably would become slaves. So, good for Omega. And of course, she's got her weapon. She's got this cool weapon. I'm hoping she will be able to be like a cool badass with it, but for now, that's all we got. So, alright. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you want to subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.